Hello and welcome to this Hangout on Air from Suntico. This Hangout is especially for business-to-business companies that use Sage 50 Accounting US Edition, Sage 50 Accounting Canadian Edition, or Sage 50 Accounts from the UK or Ireland. And I'm talking particularly to larger B2B companies using Sage 50 that may be employing maybe 10 to 100 people and struggling with the prospect of pulling together a single customer database for the entire company. Now, you know, and I know that that's basically a good idea. It's a good thing to achieve because it keeps everybody, gets the whole company on the same page. But if you've ever tried to do this in your business, you also know that this is kind of an elusive goal. It's a bit like that physics property that we call, and the name escapes me now, chaos theory, where left to its own devices, your customer information kind of naturally tends to trend into chaos. So what I'm going to do today is just demonstrate through, with a bit of help from Suntico and a bit of magic sauce from us, how you can build your customer database starting from your Sage 50 data and deploy that and use that across the entire company. And I'm going to touch on three things, okay? The first thing I'm going to touch on is how to harvest the data that you have within your existing Sage 50 system, because that data by definition is your definitive list of customers. And as you add new customers to the business, that data will automatically get updated with those new customers. So it's important that we can harvest those. The second source of data that I want to look at, and the second source of customer information, is what I would call the prospects, okay? And quite often these would be sitting out in your sales team, in your sales department, in people's email lists, in their spreadsheets that they're working with, or maybe some other external CRM system that they've been working with, and quite often disjointed from your Sage 50 system. And I'm going to show you how you can join those together using Suntico. And I suppose the third thing that I want to show you is if you've merged this information together, your existing customers with your additional prospects, how you can then put that to use. And I'm just going to show you how you can push that through into an integrated e-marketing system using MailChimp. So that's what we're going to do today. It's just going to take a few minutes. So this presentation will just last for 15 minutes. So I'm obviously not going to go into a huge amount of detail on all these aspects. But what you can do is that you can get in touch with me offline via the usual social channels, via Twitter at HughCJohnson, or by email at hugh.johnson@suntico.com. As you might have guessed, my name is Hugh Johnson, and I'm the head of business development at Suntico. So as I introduced earlier, really we've got three things on the agenda today. It's harvesting your customers and your prospects and turning that into action. So customers, prospects, and action. So without further ado, let's take a look. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to switch over to Suntico. And what I have here is I have a Suntico subscription connected to my fictitious company, in this case, Bellwether Garden Supply, which is one of the companies that I have running on my Sage 50 system back in the office. As you can see, this is a web-based system, and I can connect in and pull my Sage 50 system out and into Suntico. And in fact, what's happening in the background is that through an automated connector that you can install yourself to work with your own existing Sage 50 system. I have a connector installed working against my Sage 50 system. In this instance, it's Sage 50 US Edition 2015. And I have it set to a time interval of live, which basically means that that connector software is sitting there, is polling my Sage 50 all the time, looking for an update. So if somebody in the accounts department adds a new customer or adds a new contact or changes a customer phone number or email address or contact details or contact name spelling or anything like that, those changes will be pushed up into Suntico. So that's running all the time. and in the background, and I just don't need to worry about it. If there's a drop in the connection, or if Sage goes offline and is the machine is switched off, the next time it's switched back on again, it will automatically sync back up. So that's dealing with the first problem that I was speaking about in terms of just pulling in the customer information. And there's plenty of resources on our website you can go to actually see how to install that connector and so on. It should take no longer than 15 minutes if you've got your environment already set up and ready to go. So and just to show you, I have all this information in there. As the data comes through into Suntico, it's split out into a kind of relational database structure for the technologists amongst you. And so I can pull out all my account information. This is all the customer and vendor information that's come up from Sage. I can also split that out by contacts, by addresses, or just by sales, sales accounts, for example. Actually, as well as all the transactions, but that's not the subject of today. Or the vendor accounts are also come through, and all the contacts, the addresses, the email addresses, and everything else comes through. So the good news there is that I know that the people that I'm dealing with as a business are now, that are all in my Sage 50 system, are now automatically pulled through into Suntico. But that alone is not good enough, because if all I'm doing is copying my contacts from one system to another, that doesn't really achieve anything. What I want to do now is I want to add to that contact list all my prospects. Okay, so these are prospects that I wouldn't want to add into my Sage 50 system, because they may always be prospects, or they may just be contacts, business contacts that I'm not going to be billing, and I'm not going to be invoicing, and I don't want to set up in my accounting software, but I do want to appear within my company-wide contact database. So what I'm going to do there is add some. So I can do that in two ways. Okay. The first way is if I go to my accounts list, and what I can do is I can just create a new account here. Simple as that. So if I've just got one record I want to put in, and I can say new exciting prospect. Okay, very imaginative name, but there you go. I can link this to any account hierarchy if I want. I can assign it to a sales rep within the team. I can assign it to territories. So actually here I'm beginning to enrich the data that has come up from Sage, because Sage doesn't have the concept of sales territories. And I'm just going to add a contact name there, David Jones, aka David Bowie, I believe. Actually, that was his original name. And I'm going to give him a street address of just a very simple address, 123 High Street. And being we're on the subject of David Bowie, I'll do Bromley, because I think that's where he originally came from. And United Kingdom. And I can save that record. I can enrich my account details that have come up from Sage further. As I mentioned, I can add territories to it. I can define sales territories. I can add categories. I've got some predefined categories set up here because I'm a garden supplies company for garden centers, real estate, amenities, and so on. So this is further ways in which I can enrich the data that comes up from Suntico. Now that's fine if I just want to add one prospect. But what if I want to add a whole bunch? Okay, I've got people sitting out there in a database. So what I can do is I can import data. Okay, so to save time, I've prepared a spreadsheet earlier on, but basically you can import an Excel sheet of contacts, and they'll come through into Suntico. If you're not sure of the format, you can just download the template worksheet here, and it's got some sample data as a predefined and ready to set up for you. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select my prospect database and that I've pre-prepared and import them. And so much for pre-preparation. I've got a warning there. Some records have not been imported correctly. Please see the download Excel file. And let me just see what that is. Okay. So the nice thing about this is actually let me just open the worksheet that I had. That's the worksheet I had. Okay. So what we can see is that I have two prospects that haven't been imported properly. Okay, so let's just have a look at these. And very kindly, the system has told me where, and it's the email address is wrong, and I can see straight away. Okay, those are invalid email address formats. Okay, so what I can do is I can correct those and then re-import those two records. But the other records have been imported successfully. So now if I go back to my accounts list, my business and accounts, these records will have been imported as what I call non-trading accounts. Okay, in other words, I don't mean they're not trading. I mean they're not trading with me. So if I filter on non-trading, that pulls up the list of records that I've imported. Now, that's fine. So now I've got my customers, my vendors, and my miscellaneous contacts that I've picked up from elsewhere. And what I want to do now, let's say, for example, let's pick on this particular one, this one, T-Dale here. Let's say that prospect has become a real customer, and I want to merge that into one record. So that new customer is set up within Sage and gets imported through as a customer within Suntico. And my concern then is I would end up with duplicate records. So I want to merge those records together to maintain my data in a nice, neat fashion. So if I go to data management and record merging, and my primary record, I happen to know I've set up within Suntico as Teesdale Real Estate. And the record I want to merge is this thing called Keydale. And I just merge the records. And it'll pull James Murphy through as an additional contact into Teesdale Real Estate and get rid of the duplicate account. I can also use this facility to maybe I haven't been too tidy in terms of the prospect information I've put in. I've got duplicate contacts or duplicate accounts. Again, I can use this facility to merge that. The nice thing about this is if I've got any notes that I've attached to the contact records or the customer records, those notes are automatically pulled through and so kept from as the account progresses from prospect through to customer. Now, what I now have is I've now got a complete customer, vendor, and prospect database, which is being kept pretty much up to date and in sync with my Sage system and with the rest of the business. What I want to do now is put that to good use. And one of the most common applications for a company-wide customer database for small businesses to get started with is email marketing. Now, what I've pre-prepared, again, just to save time on the demonstration, is an empty MailChimp account. MailChimp is excellent. It provides a free service for small businesses up to 2,000 records. I've set up an empty list called Bellwether Mailing List, okay? And I've connected that just by exchange of API keys and everything. Again, we can look at separate demos to see how to do that. I've connected that to my Suntico account. So all I need to do now is just hit MailChimp upload, and that'll push all my contact information through to my MailChimp account. So if I just refresh my list here, what I see is now I've got 84 subscribers within my Bellwether mailing list, and I can drill down and take a look at them. And the really nice thing about it is that it's actually pulled through the account information, the account rep details, any account category information that I had allocated for that. So I can use that for segmentation purposes for my email marketing campaigns. So that's about all we have time for today. But just as a quick reminder of what we've taken a look at, we've taken a look at how you can pull your existing customers from Sage, how you can add to that your prospect information, and how you can take that information and drive action from it. That's all we have time for today. On other Hangouts on Air, we'll be looking at how you can use that to actually execute email campaigns, how you can actually connect into your Sage 50 system and so on. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me by email, hugh.johnson@suntico.com, or via the usual social channels. Thank you very much.